Yo, what's up, everybody? Foreman Jake here. Hey, today I'm going to talk a little bit more about fees. Why is that important? Coronavirus has caused a total scare in the market. The market's dropped a ton. Guess who's going to be looking at fees? Everybody. When they look at their statements and they see the drop plus their fees coming out, they want to know what they are now. This is going to help you. Check it out. All right, so let's dive right in. This is going to be quick because there's really four essential people getting paid in the 401k. Let's talk about it. The first one, the TPA or the third party administrator. I've got a video separate all about TPAs and how important they are. They are going to have a base fee and typically a per head fee. Okay, so a lot of times this fee, the TPA fee, is paid for by the employer. So in most cases, you're going to have to look for a separate invoice for that because it's not going to be very easy to see it. So be familiar with that and understand how the TPA gets paid. We'll talk a little bit more about the record keeper too, because that's number two. The record keeper is obviously where you log in and see your accounts and where all the participants are going and seeing things. The fee from a record keeper is almost always a asset-based fee. It is starting to shift to a per head fee now and a flat fee. There's some brand new technology firms like Guideline, Vestwell, Human Interest. There's a bunch like that, and then also Vanguard Ascensus is doing their pricing based on per person, which can be really, really helpful in the event of a high income or a high asset 401k plan with a low head count. So we typically see that going well. Keep in mind, the record keeper may send fees back and offset the TPA fee. That's important to understand because a lot of that's still going on and you need to know how that works. Number three is your investments. Obviously, those can vary drastically. We've still got active managed funds, and we'll see how they perform through this whole market downturn. I'm not a huge fan of active. That's just a personal opinion, not a recommendation. Active funds typically have a higher cost, obviously, because they're trying to put together teams and timing and do things different than an index fund like Vanguard or there's a bunch of others. There's a bunch of them out there. I'm not going to name them all off. Vanguard's the biggest one, so you obviously know that brand. There is a huge part to understand in the way that a mutual fund company may possibly pay a fee to both the record keeper and the fourth one, the advisor. So let's talk about that. There are some record keepers that have different product levels, and it's usually based on the size of the 401k that will give a short list of funds that you can select from for that plan. And the reason they have that list is typically they've done a deal in the back where that investment company has given some sort of revenue share, some sort of payment to the record keeper to be on that short list. I'm not going to name those firms. There's a handful of them. It's common. It's just a way of. Eventually the advisor or the participants paying for that because obviously it's coming into the money from their funds. So it's usually not an index fund. It's mostly the active ones. Okay, so understanding that. Then the advisor fee. Now your fee, most cases we see this as a asset-based fee, and that makes a lot more sense than the per head fee that we see starting to happen in the record keeping space, typically because you're doing not only help with each participant, you're also trying to help them make good choices and do a good job advising them in their asset allocation. So there needs to be some sort of alignment in your investment advice and participation rates, and that seems to be the way the market has driven advisors to charge their fee. I have seen, the bigger the plan, obviously it can turn to a consulting, a flat level fee for, when you're helping thousands and thousands of participants, you're not going to get to sit with them one-on-one. So it's a little bit different. So know your niche. Know that in the micro market, you're probably going to have some sort of a base fee that you're going to charge, whether it's 1,000, 5,000, what I've seen a variety of different ways of doing it. In my career in the past, I did a flat per head per month fee to come in and get a plan up and going, and that worked really well when I used a really low cost record keeper bundle platform. And it just depends on the employer. So know your niche, know their sensitivity to fees, and know what's best, so that as you provide value, they feel like they're actually paying for that value. So again, the TPA has a flat fee plus a per head fee. The record keeper's typically asset based, but I think a lot of them are going to start moving more towards that flat per head fee, because the more people they help, the more work they're doing, the more statements they're sending out, the more phone calls they're getting. It just makes more sense. And that's my opinion, but the majority are still doing asset fees. Your investments, obviously know the difference. Know that 12B1 fees can be mixed in there, and that was the old, in my opinion, the old-fashioned way that advisors are getting paid, and that's because the record keepers were having the mutual funds pay the advisor through that 12B1 fee. That's really gone away, even though the fiduciary rule hasn't been kept in place. That's how we've always practiced. We wanted to have a very transparent approach to getting paid the same, regardless of what advice we gave someone to which investment to pick. We never wanted to have, a mutual fund that paid us more than the other one, and have that conflict of interest. So, and then the advisor is typically an asset-based fee, but it can be all over the place. So, if you are an HR person or an advisor, you need to understand these things. If you're just a participant in a plan, hopefully this is helpful. Again, you have the right, if you're participating in a plan or you're in charge as a fiduciary or on a committee for your plan, to understand and know all these fees. It needs to be explained to you. It's legally required that they provide you an annual fee disclosure. The 408B2 is to the employer and the 404A is to the employee. So there's two versions. So for you advisors watching this, know that you want to ask for the 408B2, because that's going to be more detailed from the employer level to know what the employer's total costs are. You may have to do some more digging than that, because sometimes if fees are paid outside of the plan, they can be just invoiced and not typically disclosed on that. So just be aware that sometimes that disclosure is not completely accurate. It's a lot more accurate than just looking up the 5500 on the Department of Labor's website, but just know how to read those. That's really important. All right, I hope that's helpful. Keep getting after it. We're going to fix 401ks one by one across the country. It's going to be amazing, helping millions of Americans. I'm 401 Jake. Thanks for watching.